Black History of Rock and Roll. Hey, what's up? Black History of Rock and Roll. Today I'm going to cover someone that probably a lot of you guys have not heard of, but you've probably heard as far as like drum wise. This person's by the name of Barry Souza. Now, the first time that I've heard of Barry Souza was when I saw the lives on Curved Air in the early 70s. I forget the name of the drummer that was playing with Curved Air at the time, but he was brought in to stand in for him. I guess the drummer could not make it for that session, but Barry just right away knew the songs, and it was almost like the drummer never left, just basically had a different face play or different person play, even though, yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. And these are the pictures from that session with Curved Air. About 1972, And I remember seeing, Barry on there. I'm like, every time I see a brother playing in any rock band, I'm always like curious. So I had to do my research on him, and the man has done so much. He's done a lot. He's known for one of the things I'm tie-tonguing it right now, y'all. He is the son of actually a jazz musician, Jamaican jazz musician, York de Souza. Kind of like a part of the whole London swing thing, and just from what I understand, Barry actually got his start with his dad, just playing and accompanying his dad. And the British jazz scene is a trip. I only know of a few names, and most of them are from a lot of the experimental post bop or hard bop legends like Joe Harriott. So and what I know about him is just what I read. I have to listen to what he's done. But anyway, he was known for being a jazz musician. Barry has played with a lot of different people. I mean, he's known for not only playing with progressive rock bands like Curved Air, cats like Rick Wakeman, whom he was in a band with called Spinning Wheel before Rick Wakeman joined Yes, and before Rick Wakeman did his solo albums. He played with Rick Wakeman in Spinning Wheel, and when Rick Wakeman did, I think it was Six Wives of Henry VIII. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know I had that album, but it's been years, so I'm kind of gone wrenched on the title. He played on that album. He's also known for, he played on John Anderson's album. He played with a bunch of obscure progressive rock and fusion groups. I'm going to actually put a few links below because there's a lot of bands that he played with, but I'm only talking about bands that people might know. Aside from playing with a lot of these progressive rock bands, he played a lot of session work. One whom you guys would probably be surprised, he was the drummer on Lou Reed's Transformer. And from what I understand, because he's not really credited specifically, even though he's on the album, he, from what I read in like not necessarily an interview, but an article on him, lays claim to playing drums on Walk on the Wild Side. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. He played on that. He's known for playing with pop artists like David Essex. He also played with Carley Simon on, what's the name? On the track that was on that 007 album. The Spy Who Loved Me. I forget the name of the song, but he's playing drums on that. If you guys are familiar with it, please let me know. He's played with Kate Bush, and he, also was known for backing up Phil Collins on TV when Phil Collins went solo and did the song I Don't Care Anymore. He brought Barry in to basically back him up. Barry did the live version of that. Not I don't think he did the recording at all, but he did the live version of it. So, and you couldn't tell. You would think Phil had a backing track, but it was Barry playing while Phil was singing. You know, this is him right here. I think this is in the 80s. But also, I forgot to mention that Barry was the first chair. Let me see what this says of the production on Cats. I'll just read this. De Souza in the mid 90s when he held the drum chair for London's production of Cats. So he had his hand in Andrew Lloyd Webber's play Cats. He was the main drummer on that, on a part of that production wise. He's done a ton of work, and I'm gonna put the link of a lot of the stuff that he's done, because it's a long list. I mean, style wise, he's known for like really respecting the music, and people really. I'm gonna put an article on him where they're describing how his style of playing is and how much that it was like basically he was less stressed in a sense, because it's like basically the drummer that he was, if he were to sub for someone, like I think I mentioned this earlier, it was basically like they never left because he knew the style so well and he was so tight. And even if he just added his own thing, he always was really respective of the vocalist and just, let alone the other musicians. And to the point where it's just like, it was almost like, well, man, he made it comfortable for them to do what they were doing. And just his style wise, I just thought it was really cool because, what comes to mind is like, there's very few drummers within the progressive rock realm, like British progressive rock realm that I know that are black or barely any musicians, but Barry definitely stands out, and he has a history with a lot of bands like that. I mean, shoot. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna leave some links to know more about Barry De Souza. I know, unfortunately, he passed. I usually don't mention that if an artist that I cover passed. I just like to let you do the research, but I unfortunately, yeah, he did, but his legacy lives on in his recordings. So check out the links that I'm going to put, and I'll catch you for the next Black History of Rock and Roll. Peace.